My mother-in-law booked a 7-day cruise for my husband's entire family. Everyone got a ticket. Everyone except me. She said I was too stressed and needed to stay home and relax. But I knew the truth. She never wanted me there. And she thought she had one. She didn't know that my father had a secret. A secret that would turn her dream vacation into a nightmare she would never forget. Let me take you back to where this all started. It was a cold Tuesday evening in October. My husband, Mark, came home from work holding a colorful brochure in his hand. He had a weird look on his face, somewhere between excited and guilty. I was in the kitchen making dinner. Nothing fancy, just pasta and garlic bread. The kids were doing homework at the table. Normal evening. Nothing special. Mark stood in the doorway for a few seconds before saying anything. That should have been my first clue. "Hey," he said. "My mom sent something." I didn't think much of it. My mother-in-law, Diane, was always sending things. Coupons. Random articles from Facebook. Occasionally a passive-aggressive card about how we don't visit enough. I just nodded and kept stirring the sauce. "What is it this time?" I asked. He walked over and put the brochure on the counter. It was a cruise brochure. Big glossy pictures of tropical beaches, swimming pools, cocktail bars, and sunset views. The kind of vacation that normal families take. The kind of vacation I had never been on. "She booked a cruise," Mark said quietly. "For the whole family." I stopped stirring. The whole family? Her, my dad, my sister and her husband, their kids, my brother and his girlfriend, and us. Me and the kids. I waited for him to say my name. He didn't. I looked at him. He looked at the floor. "And me?" I asked. Mark sighed. That heavy sigh that men do when they know they're about to say something hurtful but they don't want to be the one to say it. She said you seem stressed lately. And she thought you'd want to stay home. Relax. Have some quiet time without the kids." I put the spoon down. The sauce started bubbling on the stove. Neither of us moved to turn it off. "She excluded me," I said. "From a family vacation. And she made it sound like she was doing me a favor." Mark finally looked up. "It's not like that." "Then what is it like, Mark?" He didn't have an answer. Because we both knew exactly what it was like. Diane had never liked me. From the very first day Mark brought me home, she looked at me like I was something she had stepped in. I wasn't good enough for her son. I didn't come from the right family. I didn't have the right job. I didn't dress the right way. Nothing I did was ever good enough. And now she had found a way to go on vacation with her entire family, including my husband and my children, without me. "You should still let the kids go," I said. "I don't want them to miss out." Mark nodded. "Yeah. I think that's the right call. So I'll be here. Alone. For 7 days. While your mom parades around a cruise ship with my husband and my kids. It's only a week." I turned back to the stove and turned off the burner. The pasta was overcooked. The sauce had burned slightly at the bottom. I didn't care anymore. "Go," I said. "Take the kids. Have fun. What about you?" "I'll be fine." I wasn't fine. But I wasn't going to give Diane the satisfaction of seeing me fall apart. The day of the cruise came faster than I wanted. I packed the kids' bags. I kissed them goodbye. I watched Mark load the suitcases into the car. And then I stood in the driveway alone as they drove away. The house felt empty. Too quiet. Every room reminded me of what I was missing. I tried to keep busy. Cleaned the kitchen. Reorganized the closets. Watched a movie I had been meaning to see. But everything felt hollow. I kept checking my phone, hoping for a text or a photo from Mark. He sent a few. The kids at the airport. The kids on the shuttle. The kids excitedly pointing at the cruise ship. Not one photo of Diane. Not that I expected one. That evening, I called my dad. I hadn't told him about the cruise situation because I knew how he would react. My father is a quiet man. He doesn't say much. But when he does, people listen. And when he gets angry, really angry, he doesn't yell. He gets even. "Hey Dad," I said when he answered. "Hey sweetheart. Everything okay?" I paused. I could have lied. Could have said everything was fine. But something about his voice made me crumble. "Not really," I said. And then I told him everything. The cruise. The exclusion. The excuse about me being too stressed. The fact that my own husband went along with it. The fact that my children were on a cruise ship right now with a woman who had spent 15 years treating me like trash. My dad listened. He didn't interrupt. He didn't ask questions. He just listened. When I finished, there was a long silence on the line. "Dad? You still there?" "I'm here," he said. His voice was calm. Too calm. I had heard that tone before. "Don't worry about anything," he said. "I'll handle it." "What do you mean you'll handle it?" "I mean I'll handle it. You just sit tight." Then he hung up. I stared at my phone for a long time. My heart was racing. I didn't know what my dad was planning. But I knew one thing for sure. Diane had no idea who she was messing with. The next morning, I woke up to a text from my dad. "Look outside." I rubbed my eyes and walked to the window. Our house doesn't have a view of the water. We live inland. But from my bedroom window, I could see the main road. There was a black SUV parked outside. 2 men in suits were standing next to it. My phone buzzed again. "Those are my associates. They're going to take you to the marina. Pack a bag. Not a small one." I called him immediately. "Dad, what is going on?" "You'll see. Just trust me." That was the thing about my father. He had never let me down. Not once. So I packed a bag. I didn't know what I was packing for, so I threw in a little bit of everything. Dresses. Jeans. Swimsuits. Sunscreen. The men in suits drove me 2 hours to a private marina I didn't even know existed. It was the kind of place with security gates and no signs. The kind of place where rich people keep their toys hidden from the rest of the world. We pulled up to a dock. And that's when I saw it. A yacht. Not a small one. A massive, gleaming, white 180-foot mega-yacht. It had multiple decks, a helicopter pad, a jacuzzi, and more windows than my entire house. A crew member was standing at the boarding ramp, waiting for me. My phone buzzed. "She's called The Last Laugh. Welcome aboard, sweetheart." My dad had bought a yacht. Not rented. Bought. And he named it after my mother-in-law's biggest mistake. I walked up the ramp in a daze. The crew greeted me by name. They took my bag. They offered me champagne. I don't normally drink champagne at 10 in the morning, but that day felt like an exception. My dad video called me from the bridge. He was sitting in a captain's chair, wearing sunglasses and a ridiculous captain's hat. "Where are we going?" I asked. "The same place your mother-in-law is going," he said. "The Bahamas." "But they're on a cruise ship." "I know. How is that possible?" My dad smiled. That slow, satisfied smile of a man who has all the money in the world and knows exactly how to use it. "Their cruise makes 3 stops, he said. "Nassau, Great Stirrup Cay, and Freeport. We're going to be at every single one. Same time. Same dock. Same view." He paused. "She wanted to exclude you from her vacation. So I'm giving you a better one." Right in front of her face. The yacht cruised at a speed the cruise ship couldn't match. We arrived in Nassau a full 6 hours before Diane's ship docked. I spent those 6 hours exploring every corner of that boat. The master suite had a king-sized bed and a bathroom bigger than my first apartment. The jacuzzi on the top deck was already heated. The chef prepared a lunch that looked like it belonged in a magazine. Lobster. Fresh fruit. Something fancy with foam on top that I couldn't pronounce. And the crew. The crew was incredible. They treated me like royalty. Every time I turned around, someone was offering me a towel, a drink, or a snack. I felt like a movie star. Then, around 3 in the afternoon, the cruise ship appeared on the horizon. I stood on the top deck with a pair of binoculars my dad had left for me. I watched as the massive ship pulled into the dock. It looked crowded. Chaotic. Hundreds of people pushing to get off at the same time. And then I saw them. Diane was first off the ship, of course. She had a wide-brimmed sun hat and a floral dress that was trying too hard. Mark followed behind her, holding our youngest daughter's hand. My kids looked happy. That was the only part that hurt. My phone buzzed. It was a text from Mark. "Wish you were here. The kids miss you." I didn't respond. I just watched. Half an hour later, Diane and the family were sitting at an outdoor restaurant near the dock. They were laughing. Drinking. Taking photos. Everything I was supposed to be a part of. That's when my dad called. "You see them?" he asked. "Yeah. You know what to do?" "I don't think I do, actually." My dad laughed. "Walk down there. Not to talk to them. Just to be seen. Then come back to the yacht and live your best life. That's the whole plan." "But won't they see me?" "That's the point, sweetheart." So I took a deep breath. I put on my nicest sundress. I grabbed a straw bag and my oversized sunglasses. And I walked off the yacht like I owned the entire ocean. The dock was busy with tourists. Nobody paid me any attention at first. I walked slowly toward the restaurant, my heart pounding in my chest. I wasn't sure if I actually wanted them to see me or not. But my dad was right. This wasn't about talking. This was about being seen. Diane saw me first. Her smile froze mid-laugh. Her fork stopped halfway to her mouth. She stared at me like she had just seen a ghost. Then Mark turned around. His jaw dropped. He looked at me. Then at the yacht behind me. Then back at me. "Sarah," he said. "What are you doing here?" I smiled. Not a mean smile. Just a calm, peaceful, happy smile. "Enjoying my vacation," I said. "Dad sent his yacht. The kids okay?" Mark was speechless. My kids, on the other hand, were not. "Mommy," my youngest screamed. She ran toward me and wrapped her arms around my legs. "Are you on that big boat? Can we come on the big boat?" "We'll see, sweetie," I said. "Right now, you should finish lunch with Grandma." Diane's face had turned a shade of red I didn't know was possible on a human being. "How did you afford this?" she asked. Her voice was sharp. Accusing. "I didn't afford anything," I said. "My dad did. You know. The one you've always looked down on because he owns trucking companies instead of doctors and lawyers." Diane opened her mouth, but nothing came out. I turned to Mark. "I'll see you back at the ship later. Or not. Either way. Enjoy your cruise." Then I walked back to the yacht. The crew was waiting for me with fresh towels and another glass of champagne. I climbed to the top deck, laid out on a lounge chair, and watched the sun set over the water. It was the most beautiful view I had ever seen. That night, my phone exploded. Diane had taken it upon herself to post about the encounter on Facebook. The caption read, "Some people just have to make everything about themselves." Even when you try to give them a break, they show up to ruin it. She didn't mention my name. She didn't have to. Everyone knew who she was talking about. The comments were mostly from her friends. How tacky. Some people have no class. You're such a patient woman, Diane. My dad saw the post before I did. And he had an idea. Post a photo, he said over the phone. From the yacht. Don't say anything. Just post. What kind of photo? The kind that doesn't need words. So I did. I took a photo of myself on the top deck. The sunset behind me. The ocean stretching out forever. A glass of champagne in my hand. The yacht's name, The Last Laugh, visible on the railing behind me. I posted it with one caption: "Thanks for the quiet week at home, Diane. Best vacation ever." Tags were not needed. The message was clear. Within an hour, that photo had hundreds of likes. People were sharing it. Commenting. Most of them had no idea what was happening, but they loved the drama. But the best part came the next morning. My sister-in-law, Diane's own daughter, had seen both posts. And she had sent me a private message. "I'm not taking sides, but Mom has been insufferable all morning. She hasn't stopped talking about your yacht. I think it's the most upset I've ever seen her." Well played. That message alone was worth everything. The second stop on the cruise was Great Stirrup Cay, a private island owned by the cruise line. Cruise passengers get access to a designated beach area with loungers and umbrellas. The food is buffet style. The drinks are overpriced. The crowds are endless. My dad had a different plan. He had arranged for us to anchor The Last Laugh about 100 yards off the coast, close enough to see the beach, far enough to have privacy. Then he sent a small tender boat to take me to a completely different section of the island. A private section. The kind you have to pay extra for. There was a cabana waiting for me. White curtains blowing in the wind. A private waiter. A cooler full of drinks. A portable speaker playing soft music. I had never experienced anything like it. Diane and her family, meanwhile, were on the public beach, fighting for lounge chairs and arguing about who forgot the sunscreen. My kids texted me photos. They looked happy, but tired. Mark looked tense. Diane looked like she was chewing on a lemon. I sent back a photo of my private cabana. My phone rang a minute later. It was Mark. "You're really doing this?" he asked. "Doing what?" "This. Following us around on a yacht. Posting photos. Rubbing it in." "I'm not rubbing anything in, Mark. I'm just existing. On vacation. That I didn't even plan." "She's really upset." I almost laughed. "She's upset? She excluded me. She told you I was too stressed to come. She made me stay home for an entire week with no one but myself. And now she's upset because I found a way to have fun anyway." Mark was quiet. "I'm not the bad guy here, Mark. I have never been the bad guy. She has treated me like garbage for 15 years, and you have let her. Every single time. You let her exclude me from holidays. You let her criticize me in front of the kids. You let her rewrite every story to make me look like the problem. And now you want me to feel bad because I finally pushed back." "I didn't say that." "Then what are you saying?" "I don't know," he admitted. "I just wish things were different." "So do I. But they're not. And right now, I'm going to enjoy my private cabana. You go enjoy your buffet." I hung up. The waiter brought me another drink. I closed my eyes and listened to the waves. For the first time in 15 years, I felt like I had a voice. The final stop was Freeport. By this point, the tension was unbearable. Diane had stopped posting on Facebook. My sister-in-law had started sending me daily updates about how insufferable her mother was being. Mark had stopped calling. The kids were confused but happy. A portable speaker playing soft music. I had never experienced anything like it. Diane and her family, meanwhile, were on the public beach, fighting for lounge chairs and arguing about who forgot the sunscreen. My kids texted me photos. They looked happy, but tired. Mark looked tense. Diane looked like she was chewing on a lemon. I sent back a photo of my private cabana. My phone rang a minute later. It was Mark. "You're really doing this?" he asked. "Doing what?" "This. Following us around on a yacht. Posting photos. Rubbing it in." "I'm not rubbing anything in, Mark. I'm just existing. On vacation. That I didn't even plan." "She's really upset." I almost laughed. "She's upset? She excluded me. She told you I was too stressed to come. She made me stay home for an entire week with no one but myself. And now she's upset because I found a way to have fun anyway." Mark was quiet. "I'm not the bad guy here, Mark. I have never been the bad guy. She has treated me like garbage for 15 years, and you have let her. Every single time. You let her exclude me from holidays. You let her criticize me in front of the kids. You let her rewrite every story to make me look like the problem. And now you want me to feel bad because I finally pushed back." "I didn't say that." "Then what are you saying?" "I don't know," he admitted. "I just wish things were different." "So do I. But they're not. And right now, I'm going to enjoy my private cabana. You go enjoy your buffet." I hung up. The waiter brought me another drink. I closed my eyes and listened to the waves. For the first time in 15 years, I felt like I had a voice. The final stop was Freeport. By this point, the tension was unbearable. Diane had stopped posting on Facebook. My sister-in-law had started sending me daily updates about how insufferable her mother was being. Mark had stopped calling. The kids were confused but happy. And I was ready to end this. My dad called me that morning with a warning. "She's going to confront you today," he said. "I can feel it." "How do you know?" "Because she's lost control. And people like Diane can't handle that. Just be ready." I'm ready. I dressed carefully that morning. Not flashy. Just confident. Simple white linen pants. A blue blouse. Sunglasses. Hair pulled back. The crew dropped me at the dock around noon. I walked through the tourist shops without buying anything. I wasn't there to shop. I found them at a bar near the water. Diane, Mark, the kids, and the rest of the family. They were all sitting at a long table. Diane was in the middle, her back to me. One of the kids spotted me first. "Mommy." Diane turned around. Her face was thunder. "There you are," she said. Her voice was loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. "Here I am," I said. She stood up. Pushed her chair back. Walked toward me until she was inches from my face. "Do you have any idea how humiliating this has been?" she hissed. "Following us around. Showing off. Making a spectacle of yourself." "I'm not following you," I said calmly. "We're going to the same places. It's a small island. Don't lie to me. You planned this. Your father planned this. You wanted to embarrass me." I took a breath. This was the moment. The moment I had been waiting for. "I didn't plan anything, Diane. You did. You planned a vacation for your entire family and left me out. You told everyone I was too stressed. You made it sound like you were doing me a favor. But we both know why you really left me out." She crossed her arms. "And why is that?" "Because you've never liked me. Because I married your son and you couldn't control that. Because I gave him children and you couldn't stand sharing them. Because I exist, and that's enough to make you angry." Diane's eyes flashed. That's ridiculous. Is it? Then why did you do it? Why did you exclude me? She didn't answer. I'll tell you why, I continued. Because you thought you could get away with it. You thought I would just stay home and cry. You thought Mark would go along with it like he always does. You thought nobody would stand up to you. I stepped closer. You were wrong. The table was silent. The kids were staring. Mark was staring. Even strangers nearby had stopped to watch. Diane's lower lip trembled. For a second, I almost felt bad for her. Almost. You're going to regret this, she whispered. I already regret 15 years of trying to earn your respect, I said. I'm done trying. You want to be in my children's lives? Fine. You want to see your son? Fine. But you will never disrespect me again. Not in public. Not in private. Not ever. I turned to Mark. And you, I said. You need to decide who you married. Your mother or me. Because I'm not living like this anymore. Then I walked away. My hands were shaking. My heart was pounding. But I didn't look back. The cruise ended 2 days later. Mark and the kids came home exhausted, sunburned, and quieter than usual. Diane did not come with them. Mark sat me down that evening and apologized. Not a half apology. A real one. You were right, he said. About everything. I've been letting her control things for too long. I didn't even realize it. What changed? I asked. Watching you stand up to her. Watching her crumble. And realizing that I was the one who put you in that position. I should have defended you. Every single time. And I didn't. He promised to do better. I believed him. Not because he had earned it, but because I needed to try. As for Diane, she didn't apologize. She didn't reach out. She just disappeared. For a few weeks, anyway. Then she started posting again on Facebook. Vague, passive-aggressive posts about how family should forgive family, and pride comes before the fall. I didn't respond. I didn't need to.